It's 11:47 p.m. You're exhausted, your eyes are burning, you just want to sleep. But your brain has other plans. Suddenly you're replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, a text you sent that maybe sounded a little off, a look someone gave you that you can't stop analyzing, a mistake at work that nobody else even noticed. You didn't choose to think about any of this. It just showed up. And now you're stuck, staring at the ceiling, running the same thoughts in circles. If this sounds familiar, here's the first thing worth knowing. This isn't a personality flaw. It's not something broken in you. It's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why. Not as a tip, not as advice, but as a fact about how your mind actually works. Because there's a difference between thinking and overthinking. And once you see that difference, you'll never experience your own mind the same way again. Picture a car. Thinking is driving that car towards somewhere you want to go. Overthinking is sitting in the car with the engine revving, going nowhere. The wheels are spinning, the engine is burning fuel, but you haven't moved an inch. Psychologists actually split this into different categories. There's problem solving, thinking that's aimed at fixing something specific. Then there's worry, which is your mind looping about the future. And there's rumination, which is your mind replaying the past. Overthinking isn't even an official clinical term. It's the word we use for getting stuck in worry and rumination at the same time. Here's an easy way to spot the difference. Imagine your boss sends a vague message. Let's talk tomorrow. Problem solving looks like checking your calendar and jotting down notes. Overthinking looks like spending 3 hours convinced you're getting fired, remembering a small mistake from 2 months ago, and mentally writing your resignation letter. Same event, two completely different mental processes. One moves you forward, the other just burns fuel. Here's something most people never think to ask. Why would evolution build a brain that does this to us? The answer is uncomfortable. Your brain wasn't built to make you happy. It was built to keep you alive. Imagine two early humans. One sits by the fire, relaxed, enjoying the night. The other is scanning the tree line, imagining every possible danger, a predator in the shadows, a sound in the bushes. A relaxed one feels better in the moment, but the anxious one is more likely to survive. We are the descendants of the anxious ones. Scientists call this a negativity bias, the brain's tendency to notice and react to bad things faster than good things. It comes down to simple math. If you mistake a shadow for a lion and run, you waste a little energy. But if you mistake a lion for a shadow, you don't get a second chance. So your brain became a machine that overestimates danger, just to be safe. That same wiring that once scanned for predators is now aimed at your inbox, your group chat, and the unread text on your phone. Different threats, same ancient alarm system. So, where in your brain does this actually happen? When you're not focused on a task, your brain doesn't shut off. It switches into something called the default mode network, a set of brain regions that activate when you're at rest. This is your brain's version of a screensaver, except instead of floating shapes, it plays old memories and imagined futures on a loop. This is why lying in bed at night is prime overthinking time. There's no task pulling your attention outward, so your mind turns inward, and suddenly you're cringing at something you said in 2019. Alongside the default mode network, there's your amygdala, which detects threats, and your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain trying to make sense of what the amygdala is reacting to. Think of it like a browser with 100 tabs open. You're only looking at one tab, trying to fall asleep, but in the background, dozens of other tabs are quietly running, draining your energy, making your mental fan spin louder and louder. Researchers have even found that chronic overthinking is linked to physical changes in the brain, including a more active amygdala and a thinner prefrontal cortex over time. This isn't just a mood, it's neurology. Here's a question worth sitting with. Why can't you just stop? The answer has to do with uncertainty. Not knowing something feels physically uncomfortable to your brain. So your brain does what it knows how to do. It thinks harder, hoping that enough analysis will somehow produce certainty. This is called intolerance of uncertainty, and it explains a strange loop. Refreshing a package tracker 20 times a day won't make it arrive faster. Rereading a text message 5 times won't change what it means. But the act of analyzing feels like doing something. It creates an illusion of control. Picture a broken crosswalk button. You press it once, nothing happens. You press it again, and again. 50 presses later, the light still changes on its own schedule, but pressing it made you feel like you had some say in the matter. That's overthinking. Repeated pressing on a button that was never connected to anything. And here's the strangest part. Studies show people often find a guaranteed bad outcome less stressful than an uncertain one. Your brain would almost rather know something painful than sit in not knowing. Overthinking is the mind's attempt to escape that discomfort, even when it can't. You might have noticed that some of the most thoughtful, intelligent people you know are also the ones who overthink the most. That's not a coincidence. Research has found a link between high verbal intelligence and a tendency toward worry. A mind that's good with words and patterns is also good at constructing detailed, vivid scenarios, including catastrophic ones. It's like putting a race car engine into a golf cart. The engine, your intelligence, is powerful. But if the brakes and chassis, meaning your emotional regulation, aren't built for that kind of speed, the result isn't performance. It's a spin-out. This is why overthinking often isn't a sign of weakness. It's frequently a side effect of a mind that's unusually good at imagining possibilities, with no built-in switch to turn that imagination off. Have you ever sent a message and then opened it again just to reread it? Or lain awake replaying an awkward moment from a party years ago? This happens because, to your brain, social embarrassment isn't just uncomfortable, it's processed like physical pain. Brain imaging studies have found that social rejection activates the same regions involved in physical pain. Your brain genuinely does not fully distinguish between a broken bone and a broken social moment. So when you replay a conversation, you're not doing it randomly. You're running the game tape, the way a coach reviews old footage, searching for the mistake so it doesn't happen again. It's your brain trying to protect your standing in the group, because for most of human history, being cast out of the group was a survival threat. Here's something worth remembering. The next time you're replaying an awkward moment, the person you're picturing has almost certainly forgotten it. They're probably busy replaying one of their own. If overthinking doesn't solve anything, why does your brain keep choosing it? Because on some level it works, just not in the way you'd want. Here's the loop. A thought appears, like, did I leave the stove on? You respond by mentally checking, replaying, analyzing, and for a brief moment your anxiety drops slightly because your brain feels like it did something. That tiny relief is a reward, and a rewarded behavior gets repeated. It's a lot like scratching a mosquito bite. It feels satisfying for 2 seconds, and then the itch comes back worse than before. Underneath this loop is often something deeper. Overthinking can be a way of avoiding an emotion you don't want to sit with, like fear or sadness. Analyzing a problem feels more bearable than simply feeling it. You've probably been told to just stop thinking about it. Maybe you've told yourself the same thing. There's a reason that advice never works. In a well-known psychology experiment, people were told not to think about a white bear. Guess what happened? They thought about the white bear more than a group who was never given that instruction in the first place. Trying to suppress a thought doesn't erase it. It puts a spotlight on it. This is why forcing your mind to go blank usually backfires, and why telling an overthinker to relax rarely helps. The thought isn't the real problem. It's the fight against the thought that keeps it alive. So where does that leave you? Your brain overthinks because millions of years ago that same wiring kept your ancestors alive. It scans for danger because scanning for danger used to matter. It replays conversations because your survival once depended on your place in the group. It searches for certainty because uncertainty once meant real danger. None of this means you're broken. It means you're carrying an incredibly old alarm system, one that hasn't updated itself for a world of text messages and inboxes instead of predators. You don't have to win a fight against your own mind. There was never a war to win. There's just a very old alarm going off for a threat that isn't there anymore. And the moment you can recognize that, really recognize it, the thought loses some of its grip. Not because you silenced it, but because you finally understood what it was.